Bula Vanaka. Kia ora. Nei rata mihi kia koutou katoa kia ora as we continue here on Sky Sport with coverage of this wonderful celebration of rangatahi sport. It is the Pasifika Youth Cup, and pleased to be able to bring you more action. Game number 4 from day 2 from North Harbour Stadium here on the north side of Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland, as we await the arrival here of the team from the Cook Islands. Great to have them represented here in this 16 tournament, and I hope that you've been enjoying some, if not all, of the action as we've been bringing on stage these young talents, the big guns, hopefully, of tomorrow. Ko Dale husband, tēnei beside me, Lowly Monty Beetham, and a pleasure to be part of this broadcast early in the year of live rugby league here on the home of New Zealand League, Sky Sport. Well, it's been a wonderful tournament thus far, Monty, and a great opportunity for us, for you and I anyway, for the first time to get a squizzy at the Fijian squad. We've called the Cook Islands. They had a great game yesterday too against New Zealand Māori, although they didn't get across that team. They only lost by 10, 34-24, and they've got some really fine players in there. A couple that impressed yesterday, certainly the number 7, Waikare Ratima and Hirani Holmes, were very good, and the Proud Nation will come onto the field. It's been played in wonderful spirit. These young guys have really stepped up to the plate, and it's been hot and draining conditions, but nevertheless they've given their all. Some of them are only youngsters, 16, 17, some big guys, but also a lot of nippy young fellas who have impressed in their outings. Good to have you along here on Sky Sport this afternoon, and a warm welcome to you from wherever you are viewing this spectacle and celebration of Pacifica culture and sport.
Hello, it's Manuia. Oh, it's a beautiful day, as you mentioned, Dale, and you know, we're treated to a long weekend of rugby league at its best, Pacifica style, in terms of X Factor and so on. As you mentioned X Factor, nothing more X Factor than the Fijian team. Absolutely,
they flicked the ball around too. They've had a tough run so far in the tournament, which got underway early yesterday with a game at 9 o'clock. 5 games yesterday. This is the last of 4 today, and of course the finals tomorrow, where we'll see 3 more wonderful games in the finals series. Well, for sure, Fiji are a proud nation, and Bula Vanaka to all of our Fijian viewers on Sky Sport. They certainly are an athletic people, and they'll give their all here this afternoon. Interesting to see them lining up against Te Kuki, but Fiji are a proud mob, and we'll be looking forward to seeing them flick the ball around, charge up through the middle as we get to, once again, the start of the program, which is always this cultural acknowledgement from both teams. Great to have you along here on Sky. Continued coverage of live rugby league, albeit youth rugby league. It's just great to have some live action again from the 13-man coat. Here they stand proudly and draped by the flags of their proud countries, as we await this opportunity to hear from them both. I love this part of the game. It's going to be controlled this afternoon by Kevin Arkan. And thank you for tuning in to Sky Sport today as we get ready for the Fijian welcome to the field. Kia ora watu e homa. Nau mahara mai, piki mai kaka mai kia Sky Sport. And to the PYC, the Pacifica Youth Cup of 2022. Proud young fellas from the Cook Islands. And what a moment it is too for the young fella here. He's raised aloft. One of the smallest flag bearers you'll find in international sport. What a moment for him. It's an interesting start, isn't it? You've got the so-called war dances, the challenges, the haka, and then you've got the karakia, the prayer, the song, the hymn. It's a nice contribution to international sport, and we see it a lot with Fiji. They could charge and challenge. Instead, they prefer to give respect. And let's hope that they're able to garner all that they need here, because this is going to be a tough outing for them. The Cook Islands were impressive in the last game yesterday. In fact, took a half-time lead across New Zealand Māori. They couldn't sustain it into the second half. But they'll be up for this one also. As we put together the last of our games, day 2 of the Pasifika Youth Cup, and already a mistake. We see that so often at the back. Leon Richard, the most basic mistake, and that puts Fiji in solid field position to get underway 10 metres out from the try line off that knock-on.
Well, you've got a scrum almost centre field for, you know, a Fijian side. They've got high flyers, so this will be interesting to see how they set this one up and what they'll do with the ball. First blood going to go the way of the Fijians.
We've got a few of them too, with these shocks of blonde hair. I know it's a youthful thing to do, but I suppose in another sense, hoping to make them stand out on the field to those who might be choosing players of tomorrow. And of course you've got Kiko, who sports the same sort of look too, with great skill and huge support over there at the Penrith Panthers. So not surprising some of his Fijian countrymen would look to emulate his efforts, both on the field with the football, but also perhaps in the barbershops. So let's pack it down. The first scrum as we get underway here with the action. This young man is Nabarisi, junior Nabarisi. He'll be playing as the distributor and stand off to the fullback. Latumba sends it on the inside. The Cook Islands being forced to be very careful and mindful in the opening exchanges as Fiji carry forward, this time by Jefika Tuiano. Dummy half is Kolando. That's him with the ball now, and onto the number 8, Vave Viliami. He's only 5 out. Plenty of talk going on in the Fijian camp at the moment as the halfback picks it up, Dave Kama. Now onto Tuiano once again. He'll just charge forward. Won't get there. There's still a couple of metres of work to be done. Short side play for Fiji this time, hoping to go through if they were guilty in the last outing earlier today, Fiji, where they went down to the Tongan development team. It was a bit of one-off running. I'll want to address that here in their second outing for the afternoon.
Yeah, that's right. I think Polynesian teams over the years, they've always had those, very strong running players. Fiji have also had the pleasure of having gifted athletes, but the fact when you just have yourself running one out, it's easier to get numbers into the tackles if you run with others. Have opportunity to pass the ball, to use them as a foil or decoy. That does help your ability to isolate defenders, just one-on-one.
Monty, you spoke about getting into the grind. Football games are won by doing so, and there's a tendency to be very flamboyant. A lot of these guys come out of touch backgrounds and backyard footy where everyone wants to pop the offloads. Sometimes it just makes a lot of sense to settle things down, as we see an example of that flamboyance down the left edge here from Johnson Marangi, who has it now 5 short of the halfway line. Dummy half work for Juane Akavi. And the kick over the head and then received at the back. Taniela Maisiri. Maisiri splits them and pops the pass up. We saw this man score a beautiful try earlier today. And now Fiji settled themselves just over the halfway line. Dummy half work for Kolando. This is the back rower, Sakiosa Kama. Solid effort. Little dummy and a straighten here, but it's a one-on-one strip. Hawani, not much of him. The hooker, but it's pretty game. And the ref will say that was a knock-on. I thought that's what we picked up early on too, Kevin Arkan.
Yes, he straight away, very one out by the Fijians, but also defensively when they're numbering up, they're well off the mark in terms of finding someone in front of you and making it that simple. Find a space for someone in front of you. If there's no one in front of you, find someone there is, because early on there was a number of them making a beeline in well off their wing. So I think that's going to be a point where they're going to struggle a little bit today. But they get the feed. Now how dangerous they are with the ball, but once again, a little bit one out. I'd like to see them link up with their pass option.
So scrum's going to be fed here by Rattenbow, who is the fullback. He takes it out on behalf of Fiji with a double around and trying to get some opportunities out wide. This junior Naborisi. And a penalty here for Fiji early on.
Yep, I think Cook Islands know that, you know, these guys are very good with the ball in hand, so trying to slow them down as much as possible. Bringing the ruck is a key part of winning the game.
Well, 5:10 here local time on a Saturday afternoon. That's a good touch finder, and they'll be able to try and work some magic from just on 7 metres out from the try line for Fiji. A really good chance for them. Here's the tap to be taken. As it is, a popped ball, and close to the line goes Tuyano, but then a quick play, the ball dished up. Now to the right-hand side and trying to create something on the edge. And that looks good and a solid start. Let's see if it's all confirmed by the touch judge. It certainly is. And Seru Buke is the first try scorer for Fiji. 5 gone in the first half.
That's the fullback, Doyan Bal. What he's been doing is looking very lively, very fast, and he's skipping across defenders and sucking a lot of people to come off their line. That time he got in there with Seru and Buke. Not much room to move. You see the wheels, the pace just on the outside, a little bit of a stutter step as well. And Mbuke, he's the first one for the day.
Great work, good start, good confidence builder here. A bit of wind out there is built up. The temperature has lessened somewhat now that it is after 5 o'clock here on the shore. This kick will be a very good one if he's able to land it. 25 metres out. Hits it well. Hits
came around, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Gave him a bit of a chance. Zambuke is the benefactor of a fine ball from the fullback. Puts it right in the corner for Fiji to get underway.
It's a good way to start for Fiji, get the confidence up. Had a hard tournament, carrying a lot of injuries, even on day 1. Day 2 comes to a close.
Well, there's perhaps some feelings that the tournament might have been cancelled, but really it's been the fact that the organisers have adhered strictly to the protocols, and that's a mistake there from Fiji to allow the ball to go out. And a good chance for the Cook Islands to come back. These are fundamental errors.
He wants to get that ball in play quickly because it's no scrum with the new rules. It's about a quick game. I was going to play the scrum.
They're just young guys and can make mistakes, but so often you see that from the kickoff. And we saw it when Fiji kicked off right from the get-go here during the game. You could forgive these teams for dragging the chain a little bit. For Fiji, it's been a tough day here today. Down by 26 points in the first game of the day. That was at 11. Talking development, had to bounce back with the game at 3, but each team playing 2 games on one of the tournament days. So here are the Cook Islands with the ball, and that's running with purpose. Tia finds himself in front of the posts to Ratima, who dummies and straightens. The defence picks him off, particularly with his opposite number, David Kummer. Here's a hole. Here's a shot towards the line, and it was Regan Brown who was one of the standouts, really, yesterday here for the Cook Islands. Talented kid, good solid back rower.
Oh, nice feet. Just got outside his defender. Unfortunately held up there. From Cook Islands' point of view, but for Fiji, nice work on defence.
Te Repo now is muscled to ground, as you can see. There's the target for them. Akavi loses control, and it's Fiji They say thanks very much. He tries to make up with it with some gutsy defensive work. Short side now, at a settling run, trying to break through the hole, and to ground now, Fiji, just outside the 20 metres. Fed on by Hondo. Just want to see some cohesion with ball distribution, which really let them down a little bit in their earlier games. And this one out running is easy pickings for the Cook Islands D.
I mean, they're good runners, but the fact that you've got no foils or no one moving on the other side of the ruck, it's very obvious who's going to be carrying the ball. So it's easy for the defensive line to measure up.
So they're pushing it wide now, out to the Blondie guys as it comes into Thummer. Thummer kicks the ball over the top. Chased at the back by the Cook Islands fullback. Finds himself in some trouble, Pelu Andrew. And he's wrestled to ground inside his own 20. But slow to get up from the play of the ball, or to allow the play of the ball, and Fiji concede a penalty.
Yeah, both teams realise the importance of winning the ruck, slowing it down where you can, speeding it up when the ball's in your hands. This makes it a little bit easier for this Cook Island side to come out. And when you're getting the ball well inside the opposition's half, that's a great kick, by the way. Didn't have much angle to room to work with. You know, tackle one, tackle two, they're inside the opposition half. That's where you need to be. You're down by 4 points.
Underway through Ratibar and a willing workhorse in Vaitu Liao. And Levi to his feet just short of the halfway line. Down the short side they come through Anatila. Good gain of 12 metres from him. Cook Islands setting themselves to Akavi. Regan Brown gets it and tries to punch his way through a hole that he thought was available to him. The door shut quickly on him. Centre field, 35 metres out now through Holmes. And Holmes puts it wide. Andrew couldn't pick it up, but it's still in the hands of the Cook Island squad. Little bounce and run, charge and go. The number 3 showing some skill. Tia. Just outside the 20. Cook's building here with Leon Richard in a straightforward charge, I should say, as he pushes towards the goal line. So young Hawani over the top, he decides he'll go that way. Back on the inside, of the try is finally scored. Skillful work on the outside. Pretty sure it's Johnson Marangi who was across the line on the far side. We're going to look at his jersey number in a moment, but the Cook Islands respond here to the try conceded early on.
Yep, that was a Rangi. Got across there. And I tell you what, though, if you think about this side, the Cook Island side against Fiji, they really are struggling up with the numbers. They do get a lot of people in around the ball. So I think if you get to a tram line, you look for shifts, I think that's going to catch them out. Johnson, Rangi gets his team on the board. It's a great long ball from Akavi. Akavi, who got there. He's been looking to try and do it a few times. The last time in that part of the field, he lost position on the pass. So looking the scheme out of there.
Yeah, those Harbour Bridge passes can be effective and create some opportunity out wide. I like what we see too from young Hawane Akavi. He's willing to get in and do some of the tough stuff defensively, even though he's not a big guy. As we see the conversion attempt literally from on the chalk on the far side of the field, in front of an empty stadium, as you've witnessed all weekend, and for good reason. This one swings, but away. Scoreline remains, or stays, at 4 apiece. And really, this battle could be anyone's game. It's there for the taking in order to find their way through to the top final tomorrow. Suggestions it'd have to be a monumental score by the Cooks in order to force a change in what the program suggests. We'll see tomorrow. We'll confirm everything later in the match. But at this stage, looks like New Zealand Māori will play the top Tongan squad in the Premiership final tomorrow, scheduled for 3 o'clock here on Sky Sport. Championship final at 1, and the third placed Premiership and third place Championship teams will do battle at 11. Hope you can join us tomorrow also. Here's the prop forward, Leon Richard. There's Akavi. Looks to create a line where the Cooks can probe and profit.
Got him for a shoulder charge. No arms in the tackle.
It's been pretty common. We've seen at least half a dozen. These young guys take some time to get used to the fact that it's not on. Watching too much SBW on YouTube, I think. Read his book too over the summer.
Enjoyed the read?
Monty. Yeah, I did.
Wonderful career.
Pretty forthcoming, and I see he's training over there with Tyson Fury. So we might see him in the ring soon. I see Gallon's calling him out. Sonny Bill.
Our very own champ there, Joseph Parker, amongst Tyson Fury. David Nika as well. Golden boy of Commonwealth Games and bronze medalist at Olympic Games.
There's a Carvey probing again, as you would expect from your dummy half and hooker, major distributor. They're so instrumental in the modern game too, the number 9s, as we see the Cooks again with a charging run full of attitude and skill. I think that's done enough to get across the line, so hats off to the big guy. He just continued going. Dicky Terepo, and sure enough, comes up with a 4-pointer. Well, everyone sort of hung off him a bit in the end there, and he thought, well, I'm not done with yet.
Yeah, there was a back ball. Dicky Terepo definitely carried a few of the Fijian side over the line to score the try. Those are the tries, those instances where the teammates get very excited because they know how hard you have to work for it. You see them centre of the field, came down the right side. You see them jumping in on the short ball, plenty out the back. Actually, that was a massive run. Plenty of numbers there, 3 there. I thought they were going to go back. They dropped it short. But Dicky Terepo carried a number of them through with him, showing a lot of strength, the big man.
So, look, he did it all himself, didn't he? And you look at it in slow motion, it's like he carries 5 guys across with him. There's certainly 4. Maybe another will come in late. Well, 4 blokes, and then over the top he goes. Scores a magnificent solo effort.
It's a nice delay pass from Maratima.
Well, it was straight, but it was low, and the fullback will be thinking, heck, what happened there? Napelo Andrew. Well, not. 8-4 scoreline. Cook Islands in front. Just what the doctor ordered too for them. You're going great guns. Just under 14 to play here in the first half. Game number 4 of Saturday play here at the PYC, the Pacific Youth Cup. Thanks to all of the connections through the island nations who made this possible. And of course, the Pasifika Collective that have been steering the ship in that regard. Just a reminder that the Youth Cup has been played since 2017. However, for the last couple of years, it really hasn't had a chance to get going because of the COVID situation. But we're really pleased to be here. And it's all about acknowledging the part of the Māori and Pasifika peoples having the growth of rugby league. Ball down here, but out of the touch on the just in front of us here on our broadcasting side of the field. Of course, senior men have had the Pacific Cup history for many years. I think the first was played in Tonga in 1988. Over the years, nations have been having interactions of rugby league in various age grades. Perla was the earlier organisation around the early years of Pasifika Youth Grade Rugby League to help and administer, develop the game amongst the mainly Pasifika nations, primarily at Auckland. And you'll recall too the old Māori Pākehā games at Carlo Park, those of you with a bit of age. It was a neat celebration of league those days. I used to go there when I was a young fella and raise money for the Rugby League Injured Players Fund. But of course then it fell out of favour, but PC there to have Māori and Pākehā games, but maybe it could be reinstated one day. We've got Pasifika Nations, Māori Rugby League. I don't think anyone would be offended by a Pākehā Rugby League team. Why should we be? So there you go. Pākehā Rugby League. Be interesting to see what would come of it. A chip over the top. Cook Islands with it. Fiji putting pressure on and will hold the Cooks down to play the ball just outside their own 10.
Your kicking game's going to be crucial in this game management. It's probably the wrong kick in that part of the field. Nice and high. I'm sure there are a lot of leapers who can get it aerial in the air to come in and get it down. Chip over the top when you had plenty of people in the picture, whether it be front line and even the winger dropping back's not the one. Passing the ball, nice. So we want to see Dickie Terapo out here on the right. St. Kitts boys, New Zealand 16s player. Still under.
So there's the kick downtown, always thinking. That's what I like about Haone Akavi. And here is a penalty offside. Referee today, Kevin Arkin. Big ups to all of the referees, including Paki Parkinson and Rochelle Tamarua, been in control. A couple of women too who have been controlling the action. It's Godney. They said the whistle for a few of the games as well.
Hasn't found touch.
That's Maxine Godney. Big ups to her. So we're on the 30-metre line here. Just a little bit pedestrian at the moment. Both players and action on field. But we should be back into the swing of things now that Fiji have the ball centre field, 20 out from their own line. While it's a good opportunity to charge forward in brute strength, pretty easily picked off Jessica Tuiano that time around, and that'll be the case here as well. Unfazed, really. In fact, it's Aria, and another penalty. And the referee's getting a bit frustrated here.
So they can still see, even though they're one out, they're hard to contain and keep them on the ground for a long period of time. So you can imagine if they push the numbers or just pass off, how much more effective these players will be from the Fijian side.
Well, the referee is frustrated. It's both the captains out. They have a yarn. This is get it out of the game. Looking after that for the Cook Islands is Leon Richard. Penalty going to Fiji. And the ball's in the hands of Junior Naborisi. On the halfway line they go, Fiji. Did you ever play any Pasifika Cup footy yourself, Monty?
I didn't actually, but I played in the 2000 World Cup. Fancy that, 22 years ago for Tour Samoa, quarterfinals of the World Cup. Lost to Australia, who went on to win it. But, you know, to play for your nation, it's amazing.
Disappointed that Samoa haven't fielded a team here this year, or are you okay with that because everyone's got to make their call at the time?
Overcomer.
There's been a stack of penalties here. Really is that rhythm in the play. As a result, this guy scored some good work down the left edge. Pops it off nicely to Malakai Thama. So he'll roll it back into Colin Doe. And Fiji get themselves into field position to put a challenge together here. The big man across the line, yes, too strong. The short ball was good. And in the end, he just had too much momentum and power and came heading onto it. This is Josefa Tuiano. He is a replacement, but a welcome replacement to him from close range. He makes no mistake.
I was just going to say that was never on. But, you know, when you've got that grit and determination, a lot of size on your side, you just power over. You know, came from a long way back. You could see it coming, but he seemed to pick out one of the defenders and get in front of him directly. Josefa Tuiano. Very good. You know, it's well needed for his side. Big running movement. Two defenders in the picture. Is able to skip the legs, tackler. Just going to around the top.
Well, he has been on for too long, but once again, we're reminded of the importance of the rotation. Unlimited interchange in the tournament, and that's understandable. The conversion attempt for close range unsuccessful, which will be disappointing. Who knows what it might come down to in the end, whether those 2 points will be the difference. So big, Josefi's quite a unit, isn't he? The big number 25.
A lot of big boys on this Fijian side, and like I said, they're very athletic. But when you're running one out and when it's so obvious that you're doing so, without any form of support, makes it difficult.
8 apiece it is here. And the last game of the afternoon hasn't really developed into any great heights at the moment, but we've still got a big half to come. They can turn on the action at any time, these teams. But at the moment, we're seeing something of an arm wrestle. Understandably, both want to come away with the 2 points. So Fiji have it to the 30-metre line now. They'll play it and they'll head down the short side, building themselves up for the run. It's going on Basanga. And another penalty. The game's been riddled with penalties thus far. And it's been really a stop-start affair. Namburisi will kick to the far side of the field as we get another look.
Oh, too sure what was wrong with that tackle. Take home with me. Definitely arms in the tackle, didn't seem too high at all. See Fiji just taking their time. You want to keep the pace up. So if you're feeling tired, I tell you what, the defensive team is feeling a whole lot worse.
So Ratumbo manages to get it to Tuiano, this big Jeffika. He's a couple of metres inside the Cook Islands half, and down to the right-hand side, well, that's easy pickings too, particularly for Regan Brown, who's been a solid defender for the Cook Islands squad over the last couple of days. Easy pickings for him, money for jam. Trying to find something through the middle comes Namburisi, fleet-footed, but unable to penetrate this time. Denzel Smith doing the defensive work for Kukaireni. Over the top they come, some pressure on at the back too. That was well read. The temptation might have been to hit the flying fullback, but they had to wait for him to be grounded at Palu and then make the tackle.
Yeah, once again, it's a nothing kick day. You gotta put that up there. You gotta back some of your high-flying Fijian wingers, especially to get up. There's no pressure there if you get it. Put it in the sky. Go up and compete for it, or you can bury the opponents when it comes down.
And yet another penalty, once again, for over-exuberance and poor technique. Glad you could join us here on Sky Sport. It's been a dearth of localised sport, as we know, because of firstly Delta and now Omicron. But the way things are rolling out, we might be in this situation for some months ahead. Looking forward to what was planned to be the National Under-20s pre-season rollout. Here we go, the Cook Islands. They've got numbers on the far side, and right when you need a decent catch, it's not taken. And I think out wide there is Lairakai Pusimani. He's a bit disappointed. I think it went through his hands. It looked as though it was a decent opportunity down the left edge that they weren't able to capitalise on.
Sure was. Execution was poor. Tell you what, even if you're just rolling the same way with this Cook Island side, the Fijians are not numbering up well. They're all sinking into the ball, or they're coming in. So you're going to find that space out wide. Just got to make sure you handle the ball accordingly.
Ratima is assisted there by Richard Leon, who is the skipper and prop forward. These two lookalikes down the left edge have caused some problems, but here we go again with another penalty.
Yeah,
I hate to think how many penalties.
The hand came off his chest and had some contact area with the head. Slipped up freely, even potentially off the ball. Just before that on the initial contact. But it has been very scrappy, back and forth. Referee has to adjudicate to the letter of the law, but as a result of that, it's made the game a really stop-start affair.
Yeah, sure has, Monty. Still seen some tries scored in the final minutes of the halves, so that could happen again here too, as Fiji try to mount a challenge. Latumbo sends it into the middle of the park with their Tuianos easily accounted for. And once again, it's the enthusiastic defensive style of Hawani Akavi. Really love to see Fiji be a bit more ambitious with the ball. Yes, they'll take it one wide and then a straight carry, but it hasn't punched the holes through, and that pickup might have been something a little bit magical. Is it play on here? Or the referee will call it back for the knock-on, which occurred 15 or 20 metres back.
About the foot speed of Rossi. I'll tell you what, he's electric. Pull boot to ball, and then got a chance to chase and get through. He left everyone behind. Rossi, watch this.
Yeah,
he just missed it.
Had he have scooped it, he would have been away. There's no doubt about that. On the 20-metre line now on a feed here with a big chance for Fiji if they can wrestle the ball out of the hands of the Cook Islands. It's just a minute to play. They might be more content just to settle things down and go to the break. Locked up at 8-all. 35 metres out and another penalty. Well, the referee must be getting hugely frustrated. I can tell you what, those of you at home will be. We certainly are in the commentary position also. As, we're not able to go down and get the thoughts of the referee, but heck, he's known his whistle more than they have down at Auckland Railway Station. So frustrating for him, frustrating for us, maybe even the players too.
I think that was a flop, but also, going for the head a little bit more than you need to. The head to take the place. In the field, we know there can't be any contact. So it was late coming into tackle with the flop, but also
suggestion of a crusher too by the way that the referee indicated to the players. Cook Islands with perhaps the last roll of the dice for the first half. Lacking a bit of spectacle this first half. Sort of mediocre in a strange way. Just trying to stir things up a little here. Cook's on the far side. Another mistake. That was a knock-on, surely. And that's where the referee will call it to a halt. Things are starting to heat up just a little bit at the moment, unnecessarily too, as we look at the scoreboard, look at the clock. Perhaps the hooter to finish the first half will come at the right time.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think that well, you see them firing up, don't you? You saw potentially someone coming off the bench, and also in the background of the Cook Islands side, you see them holding it back. But with that being said, as they walk off the field now, it's off pictures, but there's a lot of hugs and pats on the back, which is good. Get boys a little bit tired, rest up, have some water, have some oranges.
Have some oranges
come back
and some water and come on out.
30 minutes.
Yeah, and give it to us the second half. That one has been like almost pedestrian. In saying that, there were 4 tries scored, and a couple of them were decent too. So I'm not knocking them completely, but it was a stop-start affair, that first 30. And let's hope that we get into some more action. As it turns out, it's anyone's game going into the break. 8-all, 4 tries. We'll show them all to you next on Sky Sport. You're watching action from day 2 and game 4 of the Pasifika Youth Cup right here on Sky. Kia ora, Norm. Welcome back. Well, it is 8-all here in our last game of the afternoon here at the PYC Pasifika Youth Cup. Cook Islands 8, Fiji 8. And while I was pretty critical there at the back end of that first half of just a lack of structure and not a lot of ideas coming on show, particularly from Fiji, we've got to cut them some slack too. They might come back with a hiss and a roar, maybe start playing a bit more like sevens players and give the ball some air. At the moment, predictable lines, predictable strategies, and easily picked off too by the Cook Islands defence, who are reading their opponents pretty well at this stage. Just having a look at the first try, which was scored out wide by Mbuke, and that was nicely set up too by the fullback from Fiji, Ratumbo, and it came after just 5 minutes.
Yeah, and of course their first chance down the end of the field, it was the winger Rangi. He was able to show a bit of fleet footwork to get across and score that try. It was that long ball that we're talking about from Gavi.
They squared it up at 4-all, and the next try too was a mighty fine solo effort. The back rower dishes up here in Regan Brown, and it's set up nicely by Oratima, and then he finds Te Repo, who gets hold of the ball here. Look, he's got a ton of work to do. Carries 2, then 3, and in the end, it is 4 defenders unable to contain him, and he gets across for a gutsy and impressive try. The second rower, Diki Te Repo, fine effort, and the last try of that first half came in the form of another charging run. This time the replacement, Josefa Tuano, and that's how he got locked up at 8-all. A few of the whānau just couldn't stay away, as it turns out. And as I say, we're under strict protocols here. Only 100 people allowed in the stadium at any one time. And big ups to all of those who have adhered to that. And they see themselves on TV too, so having a bit of a wave. Thanks to the Pasifika Aotearoa Collective who've put together the program here as we await the teams to come out of the tunnel. We know that in rugby, for instance, rugby sevens, the Fijians are very flamboyant and they give the ball plenty of air. I guess in a way, too, a lot of these young guys probably play the 15-man code more than they do the 13, but getting an opportunity to represent their country, grabbed it with both hands. In saying that, do you think that Fiji need to be a bit more ambitious, a bit more expansive, and show the style of rugby league or sevens that we've come to expect from them?
Yeah, I think horses, they've got to get in right into the field to be able to do that. But I think when they're going and it's really one out, you know, we see moments when there was no support to everyone supporting, and then they got thrown a dummy. So there needs to be a bit of continuity in there, and there needs to be a bit of work off the ball for the players, because at the moment it's very obvious who's getting the ball, and for this Cook Island side, they're making the stops nice and easy, but for them with their ball in hand as well, I think they could use that a lot better. You know, I think if they continue wrapping that ball going the same way, get to the 50, I think if they keep going down that way, they're going to have joy, because there's going to be a lot of room on the flanks. This Fijian side really getting the eyes up on the football and just coming in off too much.
This young guy who's got the kick-off duties, Hawaii Akavi, he's been impressive. Willing to have a go, not a big guy by any means, but certainly he's got good tackling technique from front on. Bit of a smile here from referee Kevin Arkin as he comes back in. So it's anyone's game here. We're locked up at 8-all. Got 30 minutes to play, and it'd be a nice feeling to go home this Saturday evening with a win under your belt. Fiji have struggled, as I say, earlier today. They lost to Tonga Development. They were defeated by Niue yesterday, and things just haven't gone right. We saw a mistake right from the kickoff in the first half. This time around, that's averted as the Cook Islands get into their defensive work with a bit of attitude. This time around through Peiru Donaldson, who is in strip number 17. So Fiji in possession, 5 in from the northern touchline, our broadcast touchline here at North Harbour Stadium. Dished up by Colundo, and again that straight, direct, but perhaps predictable running at the moment of the Fijian forwards. Pushed out by the acting half, and then the ball is launched high, wide and handsome, and taken beautifully at the back here by Apelu Andrew. The Fijian squad were good on the chase, The referee frustrated once again. That was crazy, really. The tackle was made. I'd be saying to this guy, hey, what do you think that was all about, Monty?
Yeah, so we're seeing chips on the wrong end of the field. We're seeing it up and under in the middle of the field, and I think it should have been kicking for distance right there. So game management, there you go. One is off. Salam Bial, he's gone. Oh, I think that was unlucky. There was no malice in that. It was the knees into the tackle. They got pinged for.
And he came back for a second bite of the cherry too, and that didn't impress referee Arken. So 12 plays 13 now, and a chance for the Cook Islands to capitalise on the indiscretion which has just occurred. That run, though, easily read by Putumani. Trying to create some inroads to their ball. Kavi, eyes darting around, looking at where he might send it. Hidini Holmes punches it out wide to Peru Donaldson. He's got his hands free. That ball has gone to ground and graciously accepted too. Kaliambasonga, Fiji in possession.
Nice work on the D-line.
Just short of the 40 metres. Easy pickings as Adia goes to ground. 8 short of the halfway line. Fiji, first receiver, second, and again, an example of that predictability. Well, just want to charge it forward, and with it now, punching the ball wide. This is a little better, a little bit more ambitious as David Kama pops the ball out late. Picks up Thummer on the far side. Back into the thick of things. Now able to advance the winger, gets to his feet. That's my city. Come up.
You've got to play over the vantage line, Dale. They're passing back and not taking any yards off the defensive line.
And another penalty for raking the ball this time. Fiji should be able to profit. Remember, they're down one player in the bin. That's the number 11, Salam Bial.
How far back they take this ball?
So Thummer has it, and inside the 30, a little bit of a hop, skip and a jump for Tuiano. He scored a try. About 8 minutes to go in the first half. Tuiano.
Nothing over their vantage line. It makes it so easy for the Cook Island side to get up and meet them in. Some first up impacts, win those collisions.
It's Jessica Tuiano. Now a look on the far side, probably the pass, but unnecessarily. And it's claimed there by David Kama, and yet another penalty.
Well, they need a tap and go.
You'd think so. Too many discussions, losing the opportunity to take an advantage and catch the Cook Islands napping. This will be just a straight carry, and again, a pretty predictable attacking effort from Jessica Tuiano, short side now, and on the inside, trying to squeeze his way out of the tackle as the halfback David Kama. You just wonder.
Yeah, it's not going to upset the defensive line, is it? All stagnant. No one running with any sort of force.
Kama gets the ball out. Charging for the line is Colin out of dummy half.
Not even a show. May
Bit
have
of a
got
show
there, though.
there.
No, he's held up.
He's held up.
Tell you what,
as
so
well.
if he got over the line, millimetres away from scoring that try, if he shows or feints or does something subtly to take away from the defensive line, if he scores that. But the fact that he just telegraphed the whole play, he's a lot easier to stop.
And there's
Too much
kick.
weight on the kick.
Yeah, well, too much weight on the kick. Absolutely, from close range. Could have just little off the boot, but hey, they're just learning the game, I guess. These guys, you can't be too critical of them. But at the moment,
yeah, it's great. If they weren't here, then there wouldn't be a 16 playing, right? So it's awesome to have them here and be amongst it. And you just feel for the ability of this side, because the natural ability is amazing. And just with a few small tweaks and working together, they'd have a lot more joy.
Sure. Well, Johnson Blungy's got the ball. He scored a try early in the first half as well. Still 8-all. 6.5 gone here. And the second stanza probably wasted their opportunity with 12 opponents. Nahuane Avaki. Back it up, says the referee. We'll get another play the ball. Hindley home, slides into dummy half. What have they got on the boil here? What's cooking in the pot for the cookies? Up the middle they come through Te Repo. Turned around and turned, facing his own line now, struggling to his feet. Gets up, rights himself, chip over the top. I thought too deep, then taken. There's a runner on the inside, hot, and the try is beautiful. The try in the end from Kalani Peru Donaldson is a class piece of work that really came out of nowhere, but there was a willingness to push forward, and it pays dividends here for the Cook Islands.
Yeah, there's a number of phases they could string together. Ball in hand, not being too disrupted, going back and forth with penalties. Diki Terepo, if there's been any tries or anything good from the Cook Islands side, he's normally been in and amongst it. That time was Kalani Peru Donaldson. You see them come back on the short side. That from Terepo, don't know how that wasn't a penalty. They jumped down the short side. It was the little chip, something that the Fijians have employed throughout the day. Fighting for spots. Tell you what, they did well. The cover of defence come across. Kalani Peru Donaldson wasn't going to miss that opportunity.
Well, we might see some light here at the end of what's been a pretty bleak tunnel, in a sense of a description of a game, but 8-all this time. The kick is well wide, never looked like getting there, but still a breath of fresh air with that effort down the left edge, resulting in Peru Donaldson's try. Let's get another look at it. Started off with a Kavi onto the boot of Holmes. I thought it was too deep, but in the end it was nicely picked up by Tia Tia. And then back to the replacement on the field, and Peru Donaldson, a good try. Hope you enjoyed that at home. It's part of the Pasifika Youth Cup. We'll see plenty of them like that tomorrow. Don't you worry about that. 3 games, 11, 1 and 3.
Something about a finals day, especially in the Pasifika Cup.
So it goes deep this time. Cook Islands with it and a chance to wind up, then deciding on the angle. Look at this carry. It's been superb. There's a runner on the inside. Can he pick him? Can he pick him? Bit of a fend. I think he ran himself out of options, Peru Donaldson. Was looking up on the inside. I thought he was able to maybe pick up some money. Still with the ball is Tia Tia. He's been good down the left edge in the last little while. Picked off from the tackle of Kama for Fiji. Dummy half work here from Rangi. And now it's across to Brown, who offloads as well. And they're right in front of the post, 15 metres out from the try line here. Big chance. 14 is Panaho Brown. Down the right side, they come through Ratima. Fullback, Andrew, is into the mix. And then it's out to Vati Liao, who's close to the line. Vatu Liao to play the ball. And can the Cook Islands sneak a try? Underneath goes Andrew Anatela. Referee says, not good enough, young Andrew. Let's try it again. Out it comes to the Cook Islands, threading the needle. The runners are through. The chase is on. But it won't be the 4 points that they sought.
Well, Diki Terepo showing the skill set that he has. Put boot to ball. Thought he got there in the end too. Then that comes across. I think it was the post. Fiji just got to it in the end. Drop out. Anyway, it's going to be that repeat set, that added pressure. If they can play upbeat and play fast, you can see some hands on hips already from his Fijian side. One out the back as well.
Ruffin Bow covered up for them. There's an injury, as Monty has alluded to, so the referee just pausing momentarily. Yeah, Terepo was on the chase there. And he put the ball along the ground. It was the scramble. Caminelli Latumbo that denied him the try. This is the man in question too, Dickie Tenepo. Here he goes again. Through one, make that two. To ground, 8 metres out from the try line. Wants a quick play the ball. Everyone's calling for it. It's Panaho Brown who gets it from dummy half. Has a solo effort. The back rower Kama is there to wrestle him to ground with assistance from under there, Sirimbulu. Now, dummy half and out to Brown, and then the ball has gone to ground. And it's Fiji who will come up with it. They dodge a bullet. The Cook Islands were full of intent. But as it turned out, their expertise was lacking at the time they needed it most.
This is what the play. Dummy half runs. I think that could be something that gets this Fiji side back into the game, because what happens is they go over their vantage line. It's going to stop this Cook Island side, especially when they're not getting off that line. When they're playing too far back behind their vantage line, it's just too easy to swallow up.
So the white-haired second row Waisaka Salambao is back on the field. Cook Islands in the lead by 4. This is Timothy Tia.
Oh, Sardis going to go back with Shippening. It was a late call. Referee Kevin Arkin decided it was. I think he got the call right.
Well, here's a good chance for Fiji. They need to make haste while the sun shines. They're deciding what to do here. Anale Sirimbulu has the ball. He'll decide to kick towards the northern touchline. Somewhat pointless. I think they might have made 5 metres on that. Why they didn't look deeper. I mean, they're already 20 metres in there, so a gain of perhaps 3 inches on the play. But anyway, they're back into it now. Yeah, well, you knew you were having a look there too, Monty, thinking that was just a crazy flop and unnecessary. Still with Fiji, centre field, 25 out, fed up by Kalando. The big number 8 is Viliame Vave. Cook Island supporters liking the defensive work. Fiji now setting themselves down by 4. Big chance to get on the scoreboard.
Nice.
Here's the break that they needed. There's the step, and what about the tackle that came in from Tia? Absolutely cut Salambao in half and put him to the ground. He was going all the way, and then the knock-on will see the Cook Islands get possession. But what about the work from the centre? That was one brilliant defensive play.
That's an amazing shot. Salambao is down. He is winded. Tia cut him in half. But what about the run first from the edge back row from Fiji? Salambao. Just what they needed.
Well, look, by the way that he was rolling, I thought there's no way that they can stop him, Salambao. So this is earlier on. Oh, this was a try just a few moments ago from Donaldson, Peiru Donaldson, down the left edge.
And then the kickoff, he was exceptional too. He carried it 17 metres, but
This is the run here from Salambao. Right, a little door opens very nicely through that gap. And he just got hammered with a superb defensive effort close to the line.
that is textbook. That is beautiful. Right under the ribs as well, and the step. He thought he was through. Salambao.
I'm sure he thought he was through too. He's not a big guy, Timothy, but
he,
technique was right
once
on the money.
again, that was against the grain. It was a switch back behind the ruck to that man, and then he chose a different angle. It wasn't straight up and down. It was
against the grain, and perhaps this is where they need to chance their hand more. Still plenty of time here, 17 to play. The scrum's to be set. Stop-start affair that first half, but now it's just starting to get a little intense out there with just 4 points in it. Hiddenly Holmes to feed the scrum. Cook Islands knowing that they really need to get on the board again, and this is Tia. Thought he might have been running with the man. He just hammered in the tackle. Referee says back it up. You're creeping forward a few metres and you don't deserve it. Out of the line quickly with good effect too is the fullback, Latumbo. And Tira feels, well, if you're not going to pass it to me, I'll come in and take it and get a few metres myself. And that's a good play from him too.
offside. Gets head up, beautiful footwork. A bit of a stroke as well as it goes into the bump. Full kit of tricks there, and the leg drive as well. Penalty for offside. Kick this out, get the ball rolling. The Golden side just slowing it up a little bit. Now it's just the second day and playing a number of games.
Yeah, but it's right that it should be tight. I'm pleased it's not a huge score either way, as it leaves it open for a big finish. 12-8, quarter of an hour to play here, or just over. Tooks in possession. Regan Brown's been one of the standouts too for Kukiaideni. Holmes showing it. Holmes holding it. And that's off a Fijian leg, I think. In fact, it will be a full set available to the Cook Islands. This time here's Tia. Put away on the 30-metre line. Sliding into dummy half. Ratima gets hold of the ball. Looks down the right edge and eye off the ball momentarily. And Alvin Chong Ni makes a little faux pas. And whatever momentum might have been building behind the men in green is abruptly brought to a conclusion as we see a player down in back play as well. Well, this is not unexpected, bearing in mind the amount of work that they've had to do in the last little while.
Nice to see the game opening up a little bit more with a back and forth exchange. Penalties have sort of made its way out of the game. Both teams settling down. Well, that's interesting with tomorrow coming up and tomorrow being the big day, because we've seen players play out of positions where we saw them on the first day and players being rested and tried in other positions also. So it's interesting seeing what tomorrow, what the coaches come up with, what they got available in terms of personnel, who does what in personnel and where they turn up for their side, where you play them. A number of talented players being playing on the edge and then playing also in the middle.
Quite sure what that injury is, Monty. You might be more familiar with things, and I think you've got abilities as a medic from afar. The big number 8, Viliame Vave, has been forced to the sideline. I hope it's not a neck injury. Seems to be carrying himself rather awkwardly. Still, we're back to the action here. Sky Sport coverage of the Pasifika Youth Cup 2022. And we're a quarter of an hour out from full time. Just 4 points in it as we see a double around from Fiji. That was deemed high, so yet another penalty. Technique failing late in the day.
Yeah, trying to get across. See what Fiji can do now with position. See the shadows coming across the field as we close this one out. They've got plenty of speed. They've got talent across the park. It's just about putting it together and helping that individual brilliance when they're in position. Helping them in the way of having less tacklers on board coming to see them. Look at that, there's 4 tacklers there on one person because there is no threat of a pass.
Well, this is where you would have liked to have played, where it's tight, you've got 15 minutes, you can really impose yourself on not just the rhythm and momentum of the game, but on the scoreboard also. So now Fiji, still very much a chance to win this one, don't get me wrong. Of course, right when they needed to hold on to the ball, just for Tuiano put it down, and so the Cook Islands will get a chance to work some magic of their own. I think you get the feed, though. Not sure whether that would be the case. Perhaps I'm misreading the referee signals there. Of course, it should be a cookie feed.
Well, if you're Cook Islands, you should be looking to use your experience of playing this game for a longer period of time, because I think that's obvious of the two teams. Close this one out.
A lot of these guys involved in club footy here, club rugby league in Auckland. Some, of course, will be at playing schools and perhaps more attuned to the 15-man code. The chance comes, like we say, to pull on the jersey of your forebears with no hesitation there as we see Peiru Donaldson. He showed some real pace down the left edge too when he carted the ball forward from the kickoff and looking to find a way through the middle as Leon Richard And frustration for referee Ken yet again. I don't think too many things are malicious, but technique and perhaps fatigue are really wanting at the moment, particularly some of these Fijian players.
And you got to remember, fourth game in 2 days.
Well, that can be energy sapping, of course. Let's have another look at that. Two players in a tackle and a strip. They've got to fancy their chances now, the Cooks. Here's Peru Donaldson. So straight and direct this time. Just setting something up. You can see them moving down the right edge, getting themselves set out of dummy half for the darting little run. Here is the number 14. I think he might have...
No, held up. Very close.
Well, he certainly went close. No doubt about that. Regan Brown. So the Cooks looking for it, and the intercept is what they're after on the far side. The ball's been jarred loose, and Fiji have indeed turned over possession and have it down the left through Salambiao. Gets the ball away on the far side. So Fiji still putting a bit of effort in here. 12 to go. Important that they hold on to the football. Get the best out of their set of 6. Get the best field position they can. To the right edge. And now up through the middle. No way through there for the back rower, Kama.
He's offside on the edge.
Off the boot of Cam. The chase is on at the back. Into the end goal. Got to be careful here. And that fancies chances of getting out. Fijian supporters are happy with the work that's done. Timothy Tiatia found himself under pressure as those in the white jerseys came careering down after the football.
They've had some huge losses this Fijian side, but you've got to commend them for their ability to just hang in there. Now, the effort's been sound today. Execution has not been the best, and where they lack experience, they haven't lacked that passion and wanting to compete and get in the face of the opposition. You can see there that's evident with that kick chase.
Yeah, good on you, and it's a fair point too, Monty, that we must make. Remember, these young guys on the learning curve, as we see Fiji trying to weave their way through a tiring defence. This time it's Serumbuke, who scored the first try of the match a long, long time ago. Kalandau pushes the ball out wide and finds a more Morano Sai. He too is turtled 5 or 6 metres away from the try line. Don't be at all surprised if Fiji calls an upset here and bang over. Beautiful hands on show this time around, and then the big loping rainbow pass, which results in a try on the far side of the field, and it's Taniela Mai City. So Fiji score, but what about the hands from Manale Senambulu, who picked it up off his ankles and then sanded over the top. And well picked up out wide by Mai City. Good try for Fiji. We're locked up.
Well, they got the tails up after a result of that. The confidence is huge as they come back. The effort's been great. We've mentioned that. That time the execution was a lot better. No problem going laterally. They can pass the ball well. They can find space. Doesn't matter what coach you play. But here you go. It's a bit of a shift out to the left. 2 pass. They play back door. Great hands here. There's that long ball over the top. As you mentioned, Maisere, Tanela Maisere. Look at him jumping for joy. Could have started something here.
Well, if they came away with the 2 points here this evening, they'd be absolutely wrapped. The kick gave them some chance, but in the end, waved away. We're locked up at 12 all, and we're in for an exciting conclusion to game number 4 on day 2 of the Pasifika Youth Cup. Fiji and the Cook Islands going head to head. It's a little sluggish in that first half, but it's come alive here in the second stanza. And we're pleased to have you along here on the home of Pasifika and indeed New Zealand Rugby League Sky Sport. Let's have another look at how the try came to be, in particular that lovely piece of work from the 14, Selambulu. And the dive to the corner to secure the try as Malakai Thama comes in to congratulate his teammate Taniela Mai City, who scores for Fiji. Back to the centre we go, and a riveting conclusion to this match. Short kickoff, too heavy, out on the full. Fiji with the ball.
Oh, they're saying calm down. So the Fiji players.
Just under 8 to play. Plenty of opportunities to score. Of course, some might be thinking of drop goals too. At this stage, 12 all. Important ball retention here.
So they made a metre on that. I think you're better off running out of dummy half, playing over the vantage line. Some short balls. They've got some damaging runners, but when you're starting so far back, behind the 8 ball.
They're trying to charge their way through the middle. This time it's Sifa Tuiano. Back it comes to Maratino. And the kick early, hard to understand. And the advantage that Fiji had is eroded quickly.
Oh,
there's a knock-on going to ground. Tia has put in some good work, but this time just a little mistake. And one of the Fijian players down in back play. They are tiring too. Let's have a look at Timothy's run. Beautiful running style as he hits the deck under pressure there from Salambao.
Shame they kicked early on the second tackle, I believe it was. You know, there wasn't even space that was on. I thought when they were setting this up and they're slowing it down, they'll be thinking about where they're going to look to head to and then work off that point, whether it be the halfway to go down the short side or go the same way.
He'll be disappointed to have a serious injury occur at this stage of a tournament. In fact, at this stage of a new year. But that's the rescue run and contact sport. I think he might be good to get to his feet. I'm pleased that he is.
He's stretching. Could be as simple as cramp. Yeah, that's cramp.
Number we're talking about there.
I think it's number 9.
He's had a pretty good game. This is another look at the try a few moments ago from my city.
Well, perfect position for a scrum if you're Fijian player. Some open field.
So who will be able to get hold of the ball and ram home and advantage? 6.5 minutes to play. Centre field, 25. It's all on for the boys from Bullerville. Let's see what they can pull out here. Into the hands of Fama. Resting on the ground. Pussy Money to his feet. Short side run. Colin Basonga. Fiji, the call goes up from the few fans that are here, mainly connections to the team. Pasifika Youth Cup might try this once again, this time doing well to hold on to it. Sinimbulu toying down the left side. David Kama weaving his magic, gets the pass away, but it eludes everybody and goes into touch on the far side of the field.
Oh, the speed. Tell you what, that's when they're at their best, when they're over the vantage line and they're playing what's in front of them, not passing back and being so predictable. When they do get out dummy half, because there's a lot of speed in this Fijian side, the footwork is terrific. They back themselves more in that area of the game. 5 minutes to go. 12 all locked up.
Well, Fiji have provided some fantastic footballers in the rugby league code in recent years. Certainly through the NRL, become national heroes. And a chance still for one or a couple of these guys to do exactly the same.
We'll be talking about Matamatonga and what they've been doing in the World Cup. Let's not forget Fiji. You know, they beat New Zealand in the World Cup. They've been to the semi-finals, I think, in the last few World Cups. I mean, that is a momentous effort, and that's probably why you see more and more of the Fijians playing the great game of rugby league.
We've got some wonderful players sprinkled through Australia and beyond. Waiting for this call, because this could be really important with just under 4.5 to play. You can sense an upping of the ante. Some urgency in the approach here. That is a fine carry from Alvin Chong Ni. And Chong Ni gets the ball rolling for the Cook Islands. Who wants to capitalise on what he has built? It's Regan Brown, one of the best in game today and across yesterday also. To Ratsima, who finds Pusimani. Pusimani with a hot step. Close by, close by. He's still short and will play the ball here just to meter out from the try line. Dummy half work for Brown. Over the top he goes. And they're empty on the right edge, but they didn't utilise the opportunity. Incredibly, there was a massive chance. And getting up and hobbling away is Maiseti. Look at this, it's cramp. These guys are going to seriously need some cover tonight.
Oh, look, you've got 3 down. You've got 2 under the posts.
The healing powers, as the king of cover would say.
It's nasty because once you start cramping, especially within that calf area, as soon as you try and explode off that to run or to tackle, or even a little bit of resistance, it just goes on you. You just feel so vulnerable. As you see these Fijians, been 2 days. Someone go out there and let them know that while you pour some water over them, they've got one more game to go, and that's tomorrow.
Oh, great, they'll be safe. That's an unusual
Finals day.
That's an unusual image, wasn't it? You know, the play's going on in the background, and these 2 Fijian guys are just laid out. Another one behind there. Oh, here we go. Gee, it is. It's Cramp City over here on the north side as we speak. That's because it's been hot, it's been challenging, they've done a lot of running, it's early in the season, and we're still locked up at 12 all.
Well, if you're Cook Island team, you take note of who's cramping, and you run your plays at that person.
Oh, you're an evil man, Monty.
Well, if you're all locked up at 12 all and you want to score a try, you go for the weakest link, and at the moment with cramp, that's the area you go to. So you pick out one of these guys who've been down.
And you run straight at him, like a bulldozer.
You put a bit of numbers at him, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know what you're saying here, Monty. Lovely Monty Beetham with us today and will be tomorrow. Just like to acknowledge Nigel's work too, who's been up calling the footy with John Devonshire and others. Wonderful character and commentator. It's been a pleasure to work with him on this early season Youth Cup. I mean, New Kakwe and Nigel came up from Kirikiriroa to do the mahi. And here, obviously, we know these young guys like hip-hop, but the reality is that hip-hop has been forced by a Pakaru Waiwai by the looks of that. What do you think's going to happen, Monty?
Got inside.
There's a try coming up in the next minute, do you think?
I think they're scoring this next set of 6. They hold their patience, keep smart, and don't try to overplay the hand. I think they'll get over in the set of 6 that got inside. But geez, once again, the admiration for this Fijian side. The effort's been there throughout the day. Had some
so try coming up, says Monty Bitham. Let's follow the action through. Out wide we come, and a jarring, jolting tackle from Selim Buke. Sent on the inside from Akavi. Now it's Tenepo. He was big and tough, powerful, but this time he can't get across. As Ran will say, shuts him down 5 metres out from the line. Akavi now looking for the whole shot, and it's delivered. Psychic readings, tarot cards available from lovely Monty Beetham. It's a new venture. Good run, and it's Alvin Chong Ni.
He's just showing his skills. I mean, yesterday he was out there in the centres. Today now he's on an edge, even in the middle of the field on occasion. Beautiful footwork from Chong Ni. That's what happens when you come on. Unlimited interchange, you're on a little bit fresh.
Well, there you go. Look, any chance of the lotto numbers for tonight, Monty?
I'll keep those for myself there, Dal. But look at that. Beautiful left and whacks off his right. Carries a few over the line. Alvin Chong Ni.
Well, bearing in mind the imagery that we were exposed to just prior to the scrum set, you know, I mean, they were really awry, weren't they? The Fijian players, 3 were cramped. There's still one behind the dead ball line. So it sort of felt like there was something going to happen. Henry Tudor, trainer, in there with the Cook Island team. They'll be pleased to come away with this 2 points, should that be the case. Of course, you can't count things out because league's a funny game. And at the moment, it's a 4-point split, 16-12. Really enjoyed this guy's work through the last day and yesterday. And let's see if he can put the icing on the cake. Is it going to come around? It won't. Even Sahwani Akavi has been one of the standouts, no doubt, for the Cook Island Rugby League squad, this young team in the Pasifika Youth Cup. Well, eyes on the prize. Fiji might want to go for a short kick off themselves and see if they can reclaim the ball. I'm just not sure that they've got the reserves left to put another one on the board. But stranger things have happened in this great game of rugby league. 16-12 the scoreline. We look for the restart. In fact, there's just a minute left. I hope that they're aware of that. And that is a short-ish kick-off. The Cook Islands will just need to retain possession here, and they should come away with the 2 points. A satisfactory conclusion today, too. Now, that ball has been stolen. What's the referee reading into this? And he says, go on with it. Well, that's an interesting situation. He does need to consult with his touch judge here, because was it a knock-on initially or an okay hoist? Let's have a look at that.
Eyes offside.
It caught everybody a little bit by surprise.
Can't get around.
But not the eagle-eyed psychic that is Monty Beetham. There's the clock counting down there. They haven't got a big clock here on the go for these young players. But it's been good fun to witness. Hope you've enjoyed some of the action here today. There's the full-time hooter. The Cook Islands will be well pleased with their efforts here in the last game of day 2. I just want to finish off with the penalty. Might as well just tap and run it forward here. 16-12 the scoreline. And just carry that in for a tackle to wrap things up. And that will be it for today. Well, what a day we have seen here today. And of course, a conclusion there. It was a bit of a haphazard first half, but it lit itself up a little in the second. And I'm sure that the Cook Islands Connections will be pretty pleased to come away with the 2 points. A hard-fought 4-point victory, Monty.
Yeah, absolutely. A bit of confidence going into a good night's rest and sleep as you recover as a team and go out for the last day, final match in those beautiful colours of yours.
Well, Tonga getting across Nui earlier in the day. It's finals day tomorrow. We'll be seeing all 6 teams in action, and certainly it will be an interesting finale here with Tonga taking on New Zealand Māori. Look at these kids with their TikTok dance routines. They're having a bit of fun out there. Well, the Cookies, we know that they love to dance and they love to win. Congratulations to them. They'll be pretty proud of their actions, and I hope you enjoyed the action 2 of the 4 games in day 2 of the Pasifika Youth Cup. Looking forward to joining you again for more coverage, 3 more games. There should be really good ones too. Hope you can join us tomorrow. First game at 11, second at 1 o'clock, the third at 3 o'clock. 16-12 winners, Cook Islands over Fiji. From me, Dale, from him, Monty, from the rest of the gang over here at North Harbour, bringing you the action. Thanks for watching Sky Sport, and we look forward to your company from the same venue here at North Harbour Stadium tomorrow at 11. Until then, from the stadium, until next time, hey Cornelia.